Go.
Tell me about a time when you were able to get others whom you had no authority over to accomplish a task.
Well, a couple of years ago, I was working at Best Buy. It was very busy during a Black Friday. There were a lot of returns and go backs that needed to go back to the various departments, and it was extremely piled up, middle of the day. My department, Geek Squad, wasn't particularly busy, so what I did is directed the personnel in my department to assist the people who were responsible for getting the go backs taken back. We were able to get everything put back, taken care of within 20, 30 minutes. So, middle of the day on a Black Friday at a retail location, there was not a single item that needed to go back. Everything was back in its place where it needed to go. And the managers at the time were very appreciative because that can be particularly daunting and challenging later in the day in a retail setting.
All right, thank you. Next, tell us about a time when you were able to resolve a guest situation satisfactorily.
It was actually New Year's Eve when I was working at Disney. The park was actually closed that particular day for part of the day because it was very busy. There was a guest who's going to drive about 2 hours to come in, enjoy the park with tickets they had earned from their daughter being in the candlelight processional. The guest was rather upset because this was the last day the tickets were good and they weren't going to be able to use them, and they were rather disappointed. To assist the guest, what I did was told them certainly you can use your tickets on a different day whenever you'd like and enjoy them and come back at your convenience. At that point, the guest went from extremely upset to extremely happy to the point of wanting to speak with my manager because they were absolutely thrilled with the resolution to the situation.
All right, very good. Next, tell us about a time where you disagreed with the decision management made. How did you handle it?
Recently at work, we have this process where we track emergency calls coming in from guests. If someone's a bit sick or has hurt themselves at a resort, there's a certain way we track them. The process is one to where we track the information, we submit a form, and that way it helps things go more smoothly. The process was radically revamped by management. I was a bit concerned that the changes would make the job more difficult to do. However, what I did was I expressed my concerns directly to the leaders themselves of here, these are, I think, some potential challenges. And what I agreed to do was document any potential challenges I saw before I went and overreacted and started saying things. The management was very appreciative that I brought my concerns to them in private and did not share them amongst my peers. It actually turned out that everything went smoothly. So, in retrospect, I'm glad I handled things diligently and discreetly, as were my leaders.
All right, thank you. Next, tell us about a time you had a disagreement with a peer. How did you handle it?
When I was working at Best Buy, I felt that an upgrade to an existing computer was the most cost effective, reasonable thing for a particular client to do, given the circumstances, and to be cost effective. The repair agent that I worked with felt that the person should be receiving a new computer, and they berated me a bit for my lack of judgment and very strongly disagreed with what I've said. They did ask me to justify their actions. However, I said, well, why don't we discuss this later after cooler heads have prevailed, which is what we ended up doing. We discussed it later. Afterwards, he saw my point of view, I saw his point of view. We may have not necessarily agreed on the situation, but as a result, we had a better working relationship going forward by taking a moment and being calm.
All right. Next, what would you say is your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness is that I can be extremely talkative at times, which working on the phones can be advantageous. I like to talk. Working on the phones is a good fit. However, I know I need to keep what I have to say brief, be more succinct with it, and at times speak a little bit slower so I am understood appropriately. I have diligently been working on this over the years. I have good friends, coworkers, and family who help me be a little slower when I need to be and encourage me to be more succinct at that point. And overall, in recent years, I do feel I have made progress. I will always be a bit of a talker, but that does not mean I can't improve in being more brief and more direct.